Welcome to Drum and Drummer, a podcast focused on drums, drumming and drummers. I'm George Pickering and that's Ben Winty, and we are both professional drummers in this business we call music. So stick around and join us as we pass the time whilst trying to stay in time.
Double Big Bracken fries. It's all good stuff. Doing things on your bank holiday weekend. Did you do some things?
You are, yeah. Sorry,
Did you do the things?
Wow, throwback to Kira there.
Yes.
Do the things. Yeah. 2 gigs and then worked on Monday. I can't remember what I did Friday, but it was busy. It was all good. You?
Yeah, 3 gigs, mate. 3 gigs. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Cheers.
Nice.
But let's start with the big news of the week.
Yeah.
Oasis.
That
That got announced, didn't it?
Yeah.
This morning, the day of recording.
I remember 2009 when they split up, and it was like, let's see what happens now. And then there's never not been rumours that they're going to reform. Every year there's like a new thing, like, well, it's now the 15th anniversary of this, and it's like...
Now it's the 15 and a half year anniversary.
Yeah, exactly. And I know Liam has always said, my bags are packed, man. I'm ready anytime. Just do it. Whenever you tell me, I'll sing, you know what I mean? And then, but Noel was a bit like...
He sounds exactly like that.
Noel was a bit like, not in my lifetime, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting that back together. But then there was just little hints every now and then. Noel would like commend Liam more and more for things, be like, fair play, he's selling out Nebworth, like, go on Liam, and it was like, oh, okay, Noel seems to soften. And not to make about his personal life, but he has just been through a divorce, so there might be a money element involved in it.
But
but
I'm not going to be too skeptical on it. I loved Oasis growing up. But I'm just thinking of a scene from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where someone makes an offer to buy the bar. And they're like, no way in hell are we selling this bar. Yeah. And then the guy just passes the number and he opens it and he's like, let's sell it.
Yeah.
So they're like, no, never doing it. Just slide that bit of paper over. How much?
Yeah.
Let's get it on Twitter now.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's interesting. I saw the gig list and it's like 4 dates at Wembley, but with big spaces before and after. Yeah, it's definitely.
Well, there's talk that there's going to be 10 nights at Wembley, and it's like that will definitely happen. And I was talking to someone about it today, and they were saying, like, because my uncle used to go and see them, and they said it's the most rowdy crowd. Like, it's just beyond drinking. It's just to the point where it's basically self-abuse, and just quite disgusting, a lot of it, and beyond way lads, to a point where it's just like, no, this is quite hostile, But I do wonder if now they've reformed,
like a City Skies gig.
Yeah, exactly. But I do wonder if now they've reformed, it'll be like a bit more like, you'll have the rabble that was always there from the 90s through to 2009, but then there'll be a lot more of people that are just, I don't know, just like fans that have been growing up with them, but they haven't been around or whatever. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see who's there. If it's the same, core fan base that was always there, or whether it's that and then some newer people. Because it's kind of like that with Arctic Monkeys. They used to be like rowdy lads at gigs, and then women started coming to the gigs. And now they're an older band, so now it's
look
like,
at the
a lot
state
more...
of the country.
Yeah.
I jest. Well, I guess it's, so many new people will have found their music since they split up.
Yeah. Well, you think about how many people that were born and then, weren't alive when they were even together, but now they'll be at the gig, 15-year-olds,
Is there an element of like these gigs now are like all or nothing, innit? It's huge or the wedge drums. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
exactly what I mean.
The fact that these gigs are so big, I'm thinking of like Sheeran and Taylor Swift, like her run and stuff, that so many people, because there's so much there's an iconic nature that they're not just going to see music being played, but it's more than that.
Yeah.
So that much more people will just go. Like a friend of mine went to see Taylor Swift. I'd have put my, a tiny bit of my mortgage on him never going to see Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
But it's such a big event. It's not like you're going to some dive in Brighton to see. It's just,
the Dent Act. Yeah.
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 There's
There's no risk to it either. It's sort of like, you're going to have a good night because it's so big. It's such a big event, or you're going to have something to take away from it. And
how much
I think that's why
going to be, do you reckon?
Well, a lot. But I think that's why people go and see like the Rolling Stones, because they're like, oh, this might be their last tour. Like, you have to see them now. And I think there's that added to it. Whereas I think before it was like, oh, just go and see Oasis on the next tour. They tour every 2 years. But now it's sort of like, oh shit, they're back. But it is funny, Liam and Noel, because I do remember all the way since they split up, Liam's been like, I'm ready to do it. And Noel was a bit like, nah, man, not for me. But the thing was, Liam, his career just went better and better, and selling out in Nebworth, and I think he did 5 nights at the O2 last year, and all these things. Whereas Noel, if you're basing it on crowd, like, he started at arena level following Oasis, and then it sort of declined. And I almost think, like, I don't know, it's funny how Liam almost felt like he didn't need Oasis as much as Noel needed it. Do you know what I mean? Liam was like, well, I'm doing what I used to do with them, and I'm playing the songs. But I know in interviews, Noel started to be like, look, Liam keeps talking about getting it back together, but he hasn't talked to me. Until he talks to me, it's not going to happen. And Liam must have finally.
I was thinking, what's the most casual way music could be changed? So, like, this is, it's a big event for big, a huge band, big event. And it was all on these two brothers, basically. And the admin and news stories and organisation that will go into this reunion could have just been a WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Do you want to do some gigs?
Yeah.
Sure, lol. Bosh.
Yeah.
Some BBC News,
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was just that.
Because it is
just
a big event. But
gigs, question mark?
Yeah.
Didn't even reply, just reacted to the message with a thumbs up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Done.
As 50-year-old men do. Yeah. But it's funny. I almost don't think it's seen as big as it really is. I think for years people have been like, that's the band to get back together, and now it's sort of happened. It's been like, oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's still cool, but it's just like, oh, well, that was out of nowhere. And I think I was so used to the rumors, like, oh, okay, yeah, 30 years since. What's the story? Here we go. Yeah, and then it's like, oh no, it is true. So. Very exciting. I'll try and get tickets just because,
Of course you will.
And that's and as will many other people that might not be Oasis fans. People that wouldn't have seen them before now are like, oh my God, we got to go. It's Oasis. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter. It's all more tickets sold.
So if you happy to pay your £400.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what
a
it
gig for all. Let's move on from Oasis to. Actually, no. Let's not move on.
Okay.
Who's drumming? Who's going to drum?
Oh God, yeah. Right. Wow, that opens up a whole new kettle of worms, because it's like, because the last one was Chris Sharrock, but arguably the Oasis drummer was it Alan White? I'd say is that his name? I'm not getting. I know it's Steve White's brother.
Yes,
it
Alan White.
Alan, isn't it? Yeah, because
White.
Yeah, because he was. I think to a lot of people, he was the drummer. You know what I mean? Like, he was there from Morning Glory until 2004. But the thing was, he was kicked out. And the same with Bonehead. Bonehead left the band, so it's like, I remember someone saying to Noel, like, "Oh, if you got back together, would Bonehead play guitar?" And it's just like, he was like, "No, he left. He's gone." And I doubt the bass player that played until, I think it was 97, will be back. Gigsby, or whatever his name is, Grigsby, because apparently he just got too nervous, and now he lives quite a secluded life. But yeah, it is interesting. It's like, do they bring back Bonehead and get him on guitar and get, as people say, the full solid guitar sound that we know and love?
Well, it's difficult when you've got a band that has such a lot of lineup changes.
Yeah,
I mean, this the reunion is Noel and Liam, isn't it?
Yeah.
The rest of the band is quite important, and it'll be important to some people.
Yeah.
Not important to others. But
it's interesting because they might.
I've checked the dates. I'm available. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Well, this is it. Yeah, that would be mental, wouldn't it? Do that and then do a function the day after. But yeah,
Can't do the 7th. Can't do the 7th, Liam. I'm playing in a barn.
Yeah.
In Petersfield.
Well, let's use that as a segue so we don't get stuck on Oasis for the whole episode. I played a barn on Saturday and it was the coldest gig ever. For some reason, Saturday evening was really cold and we were playing and I was like, I'm going to have to wear my jacket. And then Sarah was on the gig and she had a jumper. She's like, I can't wear that. But some woman gave her a jean jacket. And then Lennon, I don't know what the fuck it was, but he pulled out like this, basically a rug. If you're listening, Lennon, you were wearing a rug. I think it was his, but it was like this long cloak, woolen thing.
Poncho?
Yeah, kind of like a poncho, but not a poncho. It was like a knitted poncho. But yeah, the gig was fun. And actually, do you know what? Commend Ben Y, because it was the best sound ever. Everything was clean and crisp and it was all good. But my God, it was cold. And you're thinking, it really does change how you play. You really have to, I don't know, try and warm up and try and move about and keep moving. And but there was a DJ that wasn't us. So as soon as we finished, pack up and go home, baby. And the best part of it was I wasn't driving either. I looked at the map and it was basically like an hour up from Brighton. And it would have worked out that Ben Y and Sarah could have done like a diagonal line. And I said, you could do that. Or if you want me to not take any fuel, drive to Brighton and pick me up. And it was the nicest feeling ever because usually the amount of gigs we've had in Dorset and I'll drive back and I'll drop Ben Y or I'll drop someone and then carry on. And I'm getting messages while I'm driving back like, hey, I'm back. Is everyone else back? And I'm like, no, I'm in fucking Lancing, And so, yeah, it's nice to get dropped back and be like, have a fun rest of your trip, guys, So anyway, yeah, speaking of barns, cold barn. It was like fucking... And what was funny at the end was apparently it was the bride who had arranged all of it. So it was just a cow shed, a cow house that she'd... renovated to a wedding venue, so she'd made it all look nice, and it was going, oh wow, it's amazing that she did all this by herself. And Lennon was very much like, well, she could have carried on doing stuff by herself and maybe got some heaters in there or something, But yeah, it was a bloody cold gig,
Yeah, it was cold on Saturday.
I want to hear about, you told me before, the best gig of your life or something.
Well, no. You've done what most mainstream media do and taken some words, twisted them, and spouted them out to mean something completely different.
I've made it clickbait.
So I did, 3 gigs this bank holiday weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, I just run these 2 fine. It was, a sort of barn in the fields of Oxfordshire. Not that cold inside, but very cold outside. That was actually our second Wonder Year gig. It went well. Sunday, freshman year, down in Poole. Easy. Forgotten it already. But Friday, we had a very interesting gig with freshman year. It was for Horsham District Council.
Okay.
And it was on the bandstand in the town centre.
Cool.
Right. 6 till 8 p.m. we were performing. So on paper, a lovely gig. Arrive at 4, play 6 till 8, go home.
Yeah.
You're taking that all day long. But you're thinking, town centre, what's it gonna be like?
Did you say Horsham gig as well?
Horsham, yeah, Horsham.
Yeah. Not the liveliest of towns.
Well, what the council have done is every Friday night over the summer having music events on the bandstand from 6 till 8. Each night a different theme each week, and we were the pop punk frat party theme. And like week after us is Bollywood. The week before was reggae. That had other things, So you turn up, bit sort of skeptical.
Yeah. What's
this going to be like? The public. You're just right by, Horsham Dental Practice and Lloyd's TSB. Nice big bandstand. They'd brought front of house. We just ran into that. Easy load in, easy setup. It's an awkward sound check because there's people around. But people were starting to come and ask her and be like, hey, what time are you guys on? We'd be like 6. And like, oh, we're looking forward to it. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I think it just been very well promoted, and there were lots of adverts around the town that we saw of these sort of community music events. And we got led up after sound check. We went up the road to a theatre to get changed. We came back. There was a lot of people, and I'd seen the week before on Instagram. I think it was a reggae night, and it looked very, very busy.
Yeah.
But you're thinking like pop punk, people are going to be like, what? Don't want that. Must have been about 1,000 people.
Nice.
Just all mainly in front, but even people all around the whole bandstand. They had like little mobile beer and cocktail bars and food and stuff. It was really good. Just
awesome.
Really good.
Did you get any photos?
Yeah, so we got tagged in a few Instagram stuff from the crowd. I've got some photos from behind the drums.
Nice.
I got a panoramic shot. I did a Pano. Mate. A
Pano chocolat.
All the way. Pano Schokoladen, mein Freund. Yeah. But the council had like some proper photographers and video people as well. So hopefully there'll be some good stuff. But it was really good. It was just really good. And makes you go, oh yeah, no, playing music is quite good, isn't it? Like, and then you go play a wedding and you're like, weddings are just a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that difference. It's that difference of the people in Horsham were great and they'd come to watch live music. Yeah. And I don't mean to be this in an egotistical sense, because I'm sure it would have been the same with every band, but like they've come to see live music. So the imbalance between you and the crowd is they put you up on a pedal stool a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like so many people came up afterwards like, oh, it was really good, we enjoyed it, and like, have you got a card, all this sort of stuff. And this, you go play a wedding, people don't give a fuck. Some people do, they dance, they enjoy themselves, but that's not the reason people are in that barn. People are in that barn to see their friends get married or family get married, and then there's some entertainment, and they can take it or leave it, and that's fine. And we have to put our ego aside and go, well, we're not here. They're not all here to watch us. They bought a ticket to see Wonder Year or anything. And it's the same. Ox took one of his function bands to play Victorious on Sunday. One of his new bands, Hyper, and I've seen some of the footage and some of the photos. Immense, absolutely immense. Yeah. They had a whole tent packed and they played an hour set. And that's because people are there to see live music, and they're a great band. So it's just that kind of weird thing, innit, where you can feel people are enjoying it and they want to see you, and they're like, they raise you up. And sometimes a wedding can just keep you flat or bring you down. Yeah, but it was really good. So we'll put some pictures on the. I'm excited. Neil said it was his best function gig ever. Not far off. I think it's definitely in my top 5 out of the 600 I've done, for sure. But so it's a good weekend of gigs, really. All the gigs were good, to be fair. Yeah. Crowds were good at all of them. Sunday I had to do full electric with the Roland because of a sound limiter, but I didn't have to give a shit. Yeah, didn't have to care. So that was all good.
I went out with Jordan the other night. Jordan Farrugia.
Farrugia.
Inventor of Pack Rack. Went out in London. I'd gone out before, met up with a mate who definitely doesn't listen to this. And I was with her for a bit. And then admittedly, she was like, I was like, oh, I'm meeting another mate at 6. And as we were in Soho. And she was like, oh, bring him down. And I was like, nah. I was like, just because, like, I hadn't met Jordan before. This girl I meet once a year. I was like, I don't think this is a sort of, let's all get to know each other as a free kind of night. You know what I mean? So I was kind of like, well, I'm going to go to Victoria. What are you doing for the rest of your nights now? Kind of hinting. Anyway, so she left and I met up with Jordan. And instantly, he's just like a bag of mad ADHD energy. It's great. as am I, you know. So we couldn't really stick on one topic for very long. I went to the pub. We talked of all sorts. I mean, all sorts, you know. And then went to another pub. And by that point, we started getting a bit pissed. Like, I think he called his girlfriend called him and said there was a spider in his house or something. I don't know, there was something going on. And he was like, I'll be honest, I'm pissed. I'm trying to hold it together or something like that. And I was like, almost as if I wasn't there. And then I started getting a bit drunk. And he was like, when did you train? I'm like, I don't know, man. Let's just get the last one. We're having too much fun. And then we started, you know, chatting about just drummers and stuff and gear. And have you ever heard of Matt Berry and Bob Mortimer? They do they meet. Well, I mean, we've heard of them, but they do a yearly meal where they have a yearly meal together. Matt Berry, Bob Mortimer, and I think someone else. I don't think it's Vic Reeves, but some other top comedian. And they create a list called a lucky list, and they go through who they think is the luckiest comedian of the year. Like, how has he or she got to where they are? And I probably shouldn't say it on a drone podcast, but we're near enough doing that. Like, just going, have you heard what people say about this guy, this top drummer? It's like, you won't believe this. And then he had stories and I had stories. And I was like, this is what keeps the community going. You know, it's like we're all nice to each other, but at the same time, if you do something cunty, you know what I mean? It will get found out. People will be in bars going, hey, you never guessed what this person did, you know. And I'll tell you after the show. But yeah, no, it was great. It was just cool. It was yeah. We just got pissed and then got on Mackey's and then I got the train home. And I
knew you went out with Jordan because let me just bring up. So we set up a group chat to arrange the interview with Jordan, and I started receiving messages in that group at midnight. First one being a picture of Jordan eating a McDonald's at what I can assume is the train station.
Yeah.
And the pack Big Mac Brack. Pack Mac Big Brack.
Yeah.
All these double Big Brack and fries. It's all good stuff. All good stuff. Yeah. I never saw this picture. So you just in the woods pissing? You by a tree?
Yep.
Anyway, I'm glad you had a good time.
Lovely night. But we did say we'll have to go up to jam nights again. Well, not again for the first time because I've asked him about it. He was like, oh, mate, they finish so late, you know, I get in at 4 or 5. And I'm like, yeah, well, you're 25. So, you know, man up, Jordan. Let's go out.
Well, you get in that late. You can see if there's any fires at your local travel lodge.
Yeah, exactly. Great throwback.
Throwback.
Do you want to hear about when I lost my keys at work? That's quite a funny story. So, So, as I say, I don't talk about my job much on here due to worries of safeguarding problems. But I think as long as I don't talk about the actual young people, it's okay. But as I've said before, if no one knows, I work part-time in a children's home. And you have to sleep in there after some shifts or whatever. So there's always two
separate rooms.
It's separate rooms. So there's always two staff
Make that clear.
sleeping in. And I woke up one morning and I was like, right, yeah, let's get my stuff in my car ready to go, you know? So I went, I'll just get my car key. I was like, oh, my car key in my bag. And this is really boring, but I've now got 2 bags that I take to work. So I used to just try and cram everything in one. And now I'm like, no, have one for like your sleeping stuff and your toothbrush. And then the other one if you need to go out, you know, your water bottle or your charger or whatever. And so I checked one bag, one in there. I was like, oh, it must be in the other bag. And I was like, oh, I can't find my car key. And I was only meant to be on shift 8 a.m. till 11 a.m.
Quick question, just to put in. Is your car key, do you keep your car keys separate from your other keys?
Yeah, I do.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And some people say, why don't you put it all on one thing? And I go, because I don't. I don't know, I like to have it separate. Sometimes I don't.
There's two schools of thoughts, yeah. So I have all my keys on one thing.
And I know you, Ben. You're going to do a thing that shows that is the correct way to do it.
No, so not necessarily, because I understand the logic of keeping your car key separate from your door keys.
Yeah.
If you lose your car key, you can still get in your house.
Yeah.
If you lose your house keys, you can live in your car.
Yeah.
Interchangeable habitats.
Yeah.
For me, all on one set, I feel like I've halved my chances of losing an important key.
Yeah.
But I'm playing the risky game because I lose it. I've lost everything. My studio keys, they're separate, of course.
Of course.
But, of course, only a fool would have a keychain that big. So, no, 2 schools of thoughts. It's along the lines of which way does the toilet roll go? It's that kind of, I mean, on that there is a correct way.
There is a correct way.
And it should hang down away from the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if it's hanging down next to the wall, we're not friends.
No, we're not. No, because it's weird when you pull it when it's against. When you go to someone's house that's like that, it's.
I turn them around.
Turn off.
I turn them around if I go around someone's house and it's on the wrong way. I'll turn it around. I will honestly. I will turn around in pub toilets.
Really
at gig venues.
Yeah,
I'll turn around. I'm not having it.
Yeah, good for you. So anyway, I was looking for ages, and I was only going to be on till 11 a.m. Just doing 3 hours. I was covering someone; they were at hospital or whatever, and
fine. I'm sure.
And there wasn't huh?
I'm sure they're fine. They're at hospital.
They're at hospital. No. They're pregnant, so it's just like a checkup or something.
Okay.
And yeah, blasé. They're in the hospice. I'm sure they'll be okay. It's all good. So anyway, I was looking around, and my workmate Jack was like, "Oh, I'll give you a hand." And we searched everywhere, like, the sleeping in rooms, under the sofas, the cleaners were in. I was like, "Look, if you see a car key, let me know." And I was aware that the day before I'd gone on some
for a
bike
Lamborghini.
rides. Yeah,
that's not.
And I was like, I just couldn't find it, and I was like, maybe it fell out my pocket. And am I just now looking? Because we'd looked for 2 hours, and I was like, is it now pointless? Is it just gone? And then I went.
Good tactic if you want to kill time at work.
Great tactic. I did 3 hours, and all that was looking for my car key. So then I was like, well, let's see my wallet and keys are, my house keys, because they're not in my bag either. And I looked at my car, and sometimes I just leave them in the car because it's, it's parked up at work. It's safe. It's like in a secluded place. It's not like, I wouldn't do that anywhere else, but at work it's fine. And I was like, fuck, they're not in there either. And I was like, right, so I don't have my car key, my wallet, or my house keys. And I'm starting to freak out a little bit at this point because I was like, well, I've got 2 gigs this weekend. I've got work tomorrow. I've blah, 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 And I was like, well, my studio keys are on my house key chain, so I can't get to the studio. I have to buy a new one. Can't get into the flat, and just all these different wallet. I have to cancel my cards. And I was going, what's going on? And then I start going, well, has a young person stolen it? Like just been in my bag and kind of. So the boss came in.
It is a house of rascals.
Yeah. And I started talking to the boss, and I was going, look, I don't want to assume anything, but can we float the idea and then we can get some room searches going? And he was sort of like, well, at the moment, there's no, sometimes there will be young people that do just nick stuff. But he was like, we haven't got any like that at the moment. Like, I was like, I don't think they would have done it. And I was
None of them are in.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do. So I was like, I'm just going to call a locksmith. And I looked up Brighton locksmith. Because I just need to get, whatever happens, I've got to get a car key. Even if I have to get keys, car, and cancel my cards, I need my car, And so I called the guy, and he was like, yeah, it's going to be like 250 quid. And I was like, fuck, okay, do it. He was like, I actually said, can you do tomorrow? Because I could just get the train back today and I might still find it. And he was like, no, sorry, I'm going away. Like, if you want me today, now. And he was. I had a lovely chat with him. Steve, he's a lovely bloke. He wanted to get away to actually have some separation as a freelancer. So I hope he had a nice holiday. Anyway, so I was like, right, let's get him round. And he came round and he started fitting the key, and instantly the young people are fascinated by this, and they 2 of them come out and they're like, oh, how do you do it? And he's showing them, and then it's,
showing him how to rob cars.
Yeah, literally, it was amazing how quickly he got into my car. Like, he just had this little thing and just, boop, there it is. He's in, And anyway, so I left him to it, and I was kind of just like, oh my God, this is going to cost a lot. And I thought, I'm going to have one last look I'm going to just have one last look. And before I'd said, when we were really looking, I was like, I bet we'll find it in somewhere silly and everyone can have a laugh at me. But now I'd phoned a locksmith, it added so much more to it. And I went into the office. Right, so we all have drawers in the office. I never, ever, ever use my drawer. I think I used it once to put in a bit of paperwork, and then that was it. But I never use it. And I was like, let me just check my drawer, you know? And sure enough, there was my car key, wallet, and house keys all in my drawer. And I was like, I don't remember doing that. But I must have got in the day before, because I'd worked the day before, did a sleep in and stayed. I must have got in and for the first time ever gone, I'm going to use my drawer and put all my important stuff in it, and then just forgot and just went away and then forgot everything was in there. So then I went into the lounge and I was like, right, nobody talk to me. You know, I don't want to talk about it. And they were like, what's happened? So I was like, I found it. And they were like, fuck off, you know. And then one of the young people, he was like, oh my God, I'm going to come out with you. I was like, all right, but don't tell the guy because I'm quite embarrassed. He's like, no, it's cool, man. I won't tell the guy. And then he got out the back door and he was like, you never guess what? He's found his key, you know. And anyway, so I had to say to the guy, I was like, mate, here's my car key. And he was like, right, okay. He was like, I'll do you a deal. I'll just do you the price of cutting a new key and I won't charge you $250, which was $180. But I was so embarrassed. And yeah, so I was there for 3 hours and it cost me 180 quid. But, you know, I always try and look on the bright side of life. Doo-doo. And now I've got 2 keys, you know what I mean? And it's like, I only ever had 1 car key. And everyone's like, well, why didn't you have 2? And I'm like, well, I bought it secondhand and they only had 1 and that was it. So, yeah, but it's like my car, fucking hell, I've spent nearly $1,000 in the last month on my car. You know, service, new tyre, battery, key, you know, mental. Anyway, so that was that. Mad old day.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think I heard it on another podcast, might have been Parents in Hell, where Josh Widdicombe talked about idiot tax.
Yeah.
Every year you're going to spend maybe up to $1,000 of idiot tax.
Yeah.
Just money you got to spend because you've been an idiot.
Yeah.
And there you go, 180 quid, idiot tax.
Yeah. Mental.
That's funny. Oh dear.
I know. So embarrassed.
I had one.
What did I lose? Oh my God! Let me tell you one. Sorry, what did you say?
And then I lost my drum kit.
Near enough. I lost my kick pedal. I'm a bit
hell.
scatty at the moment. My life is a bit all over the place. And I did the gig on Saturday, and admittedly, I didn't take myself there and back to the gig. So on the way back, Ben parked up outside my studio, and then they just passed me all my gear. You know, so I was at the studio door and they were just passing me stuff, and I was like, cool. And I was like, is that everything? Yep, that's everything. And then I put it all in the studio, said bye to them, walked home. Cool. And then the next day, yesterday, I was like, right, let's go to this gig. And I was like, oh, no kick pedal. Great. So, but thankfully, I'm in a studio with other drummers, so I just put a message out and said, hi, what drummers can help? And listener of the podcast, Pete, said, he was like, if you're still there in an hour and a half, I can get you a kick pedal. And then someone else said, hey man, like I've got a DW 5000 just sat there. Do you want to just have that? And I was like, yeah, cool. And then I stayed in a hotel that night, and I took I took the pedal to the room because I was like, imagine if I got it nicked, you know what I mean? Borrow someone. I don't even know this guy. He just popped up. Someone called James. Hey man, yeah, use mine. It's just out there, uncased. Just use it. But thankfully I've got a gig tonight with Ben Y, and he's the one who had it in the van. So he was like, oh, just bring it down. So it's all good.
Your mistake is leaving it to non-drummers to check.
Yeah.
That's all your gear. They don't know. They got no idea.
No.
Absolutely no idea how many bits and bobs.
No, exactly.
There
might have been other things.
I got to see it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So yeah, mad old thing. But when I lost the kick, and I was like, fuck, what next? What am I going to lose next?
Dipshit weekend you've had.
Yeah, it was a bit mental, but it's okay.
Oh dear. I thought I'd lost a key once. So if I need a van hire for a gig, like I'll there's a place down the road from the studio where I'll get a van, and I'll normally do the driving. I get car sick as a passenger.
Yeah.
B, I'm the best driver, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And we get back, I think it was like 2 a.m, and we'll unload the gear at the studio, and then I'll go drop the van back round, everyone goes home, I drop the keys off, and then I'll walk back to the studio, drive home.
Yeah.
So, but I've always got to be careful of not leaving anything in the van once I've locked it and dropped the van keys through the little keyhole. And plus making sure I've got my car key, like I can still get into my car and stuff like that. So I'd loaded everything in the studio, everyone's gone. I was like, I'll just get my bag in my car and stuff, cool. And I was like, van key, where is it? I don't know. It's not in my pocket. Okay. Right, let's go back in the studio, unlock the studio again. Is it in the studio? No. Is it up on the roof? No. As in where we store the gear? No. Okay. Did I put it in my rucksack? I might have put it in my rucksack accidentally when I put my studio keys in there. It's not in my rucksack. No. Oh, I did have them in my hand, and I threw some rubbish in the big bin outside the studio.
Yeah.
Is it in the bin? Oh, opening up this fucking manky bin.
Oh my
God. Get
God.
my torch out. I write down the bottom, like, I can't see them in there. Yeah. Do I have to rifle through the bin?
Yeah.
And you're like, I just want to go home now.
Yeah, yeah.
Like 2:30 in. What do I do? I can't leave a van. I can't just leave a van here. And I was like, thinking, where could they be? I don't know where they could be. And I was like, what's the only other thing I've done is I use the phone holder and charging cable from my car, which I take into the van for navigation. And I always make sure, once I did idiot tax, 20 quid idiot tax, left that in the van when I gave it back. So now I'm like, must take my phone holder and cable. So the first thing I do is I take my phone holder and cable and I throw them into the passenger seat of my car. And lo and behold, when I did that, I'd also thrown the van key into the passenger seat of my car. And that's where it was.
Amazing.
So I know, like 20 minutes later, there it is in my fucking car.
Such a heart-dropping feeling, though, isn't it? When you've like, I do it when I check my phone is in my pocket. Sometimes I do it while I'm driving, and I have my phone Google Maps, and it's on the dashboard, and I'll check my pocket and go, fuck, where's my phone, you know? And it is like a real, because it's like, fuck, everything is in my phone, you know? If I lose that. But yeah. Should we wrap up? I'm just aware of time.
I think we'll wrap up there, yeah. Let me get my little notes up. I think that's pretty much everything I had. I've made the playlist. I've made a playlist.
Yeah.
On Spotify. So we'll put the link out. I've just populated it with some songs I've played drums on that I think are quite cool. Nice. I'm No Chessman, Archie Mack, Evie May, Jack Child, Norm Archer, Boy the Bear, Sean Smith, Oxygen Thief, Dent Act. I've put a couple of your Elliot Joseph.
Yeah, I'll send you some of my stuff as well. And we can
send me some of the stuff you've done. We'll get them on there. And yeah, listeners, if there's stuff you've drummed on that you want to show off to other listeners in this community, send it over. We'll add it to the playlist. Unless it's shit. I'm not putting garbage on there, let's be fair.
Yeah. And we'll be the judge of that. If you send it in and you don't see it.
I will listen and I'll go, that's rubbish. No, it's not going on. Just to be aware. Send your A game. Yeah. But we'll put your tracks on there.
Nice.
Onto the playlist. People can hear all the drum and drummer community having a little drum.
Exactly.
Lovely stuff. As always as well, Instagram, email, get in touch. Have you ever lost your keys? Have you ever played in a cold bar? And these are this week's big questions. George, pleasure as always.
Pleasure as always. Nice.
We'll see everyone next week.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Drum and Drummer. You can find us on Instagram at Drum and Drummer Podcast. And you can send us an email to drumanddrummerpod@gmail.com. Remember, just pick up the sticks and twat it.